And sometimes it's easier to point fingers to ambitions and wish them into existence without understanding the intricacies required to achieve them. And some other times, we are more inclined to use the quickest way to get the most amount of job done, regardless of what the cost would be. And today, we're seeing this affecting companies in one way or the other. And with everyone still basking in the first quarter of 2023, companies are already kicking out members of staff into the winter, as they would now probably have to look for jobs elsewhere to fix and pay up their Xmas bills. Loads of workers would have a hard time sorting this out, as a good number of tech firms are taking decisions that will add to the growing number of unemployed individuals. Companies like Google, Microsoft, Unity, Amazon, and so on are relieving hundreds and even thousands of staff members of their jobs, with Amazon doing the most with an estimate plan of cutting off 18,000 jobs from all of its sector, including tech. And Google's parent company, Alphabet, has also decided to trim down its global workforce by 6%, which will eventually affect the laying off of 12,000 employees. And Microsoft is running up numbers with plans to lay off 10,000 plus employees as part of a broader cost-cutting measures, with layoff confirmed to affect Bethesda and Xbox. But that is not where Microsoft actually stops. Microsoft has just recently laid off the entire team behind the mixed reality, virtual reality, and HoloLens, which now throws a serious doubt on the future of HoloLens. And as we've come to know, HoloLens is one of the products from Microsoft that is currently struggling for customers' acceptance. Additionally, this is still struggling to retain its military contract with the US government, and this current cut reduces Microsoft's global workforce by 5%. Companies like Unity has confirmed its plans to lay off 284 employees, making it the company's second round of layoff in the past year. Sometime in 2022, Unity 3D laid off 200 staff members, which at the time was up to 4% of its workforce. So it's pretty interesting how companies like Microsoft, Amazon, Unity 3D, Google, Meta, and so on have bought up companies in the previous years or ventured into big idea projects like the Google Stadia, the Microsoft Altspace VR, and so on, just to end them before they really took off in one way or the other. And this has been quote and unquote dubbed Cession. So, what is Cession? Well, coined by Justin Larnhart, who's a Wall Street Journal reporter, recession is recession as we all know it, but this time it affects rich people. So to put things in perspective, a typical recession hurts poor people and the middle class, while the Musk, the Bezos, the Zuckerbergs, they experience what is considered an inconvenience. But the recession, on the other hand, is more like multinational companies and bodies experiencing recessions in almost all sectors, and this has led to massive downsizing and layoffs. And prior to all of this layoff, we all basked in the glory of big ideas, compressing the world into a smaller global village, which was one of the major goals that most of these companies actually fought and vied for. Things like metaverse, XR, real-time collaboration, flexible remote, and so on were the catchphrase of the early 2020s. But now, with the current global economical state, these are beginning to sound like rich ideas and rich toy projects. And for the last few months, tech CEOs have become more cautious, with conversations of a possible recession on the horizon. This would propel any prudent company to plan towards a supposed economical crisis. And this seems to be cutting across every sector of many companies, as their potential clientele doesn't seem to be coming forward with funds and business doesn't seem to be as usual. With Microsoft CEO stated during the layoffs that we're living through times of significant change and parts of the world are in a recession and other parts are anticipating one. Customers wanted to optimize their digital spend to do more with less and exercise caution, as some parts of the world are in recession and other parts are anticipating one. While we are eliminating roles in some areas, we'll continue to hire in key strategic areas. And while the layoff seems to be uncomfortable, they are necessary for companies who like to maintain profit. And with game development companies like Unity, that has recently laid off a total number of 500 plus staff members between June of last year till date, their initial statement were to realign some of their resources to better drive focus and support the long-term growth of the company. But recently, this seems to be changing within the same direction, as the CEO has explained that we readdressed our objectives, strategies, goals, and priorities in light of the current economic conditions. While we remain focused on the same vision, we decided that we need to be more selective in our investment to come out stronger as a company. Although those that have been laid off are also allowed to apply for newer roles in the company, and this is the same fate across all of these companies that are laying off staff currently. Tech companies cashed out during the time this pandemic was at its highest, with people being at home, and the need for most of these companies to optimize and expand was in high demand. So, to cash out on the situation, they had to increase the workforce and cater to the demanding public. Work from home became a thing, and remote working paid the bills for most and major companies. This eventually has pushed all of this company to the top, and with the short COVID expedition over, it is now time to start making profit and present good balance sheets to the sponsors and partners. And as we return back to normalcy, downsizing is necessary to cut costs and account for various margins. And this is not only affecting employees, it is also affecting various expensive researches and baby projects of executives. Now, this isn't to throw jabs on big companies, as small companies are also suffering from this economic crisis. We are all experiencing a constant shift in the global workforce system, and to a large extent, no one is to be blamed. We all adapt to situations differently, and for most companies, the best way to save some coins is to break off the weak team or a we can do without team. And this brings us to the next reason why I think these layoffs are happening: AI. Another interesting reason why we might be getting more of this layoff might be the full AI optimization of tools and tasks. And AI has gotten to that point where companies can use it to mitigate certain tasks and get things done. We all know huge tech firms are doing all they can to save money and make as much profit as possible with less of everyday foot staff and with more engineers being hired to develop tools. With Google CEO noting that Google increased its hiring during the pandemic when the company experienced a period of dramatic growth. However, economic realities have drastically changed over the past 2 years, and is confident about the huge opportunities, all thanks to the strength of their mission and the value of the product and services, and their early investment in AI. They're also looking at making tough choices, so they've also undertaken rigorous review across product areas and functions to ensure that people and roles are aligned with the highest priorities as companies. And with more tools now available and making it easier than ever to automate loads of staff work, only time will tell what roles will be redundant and what roles needs to be considered as promising. And as several companies continue to join this layoff season, there are several arguments that states that these layoffs would not help these companies in any way. But then the list continues to grow as every sector seems to be downsizing, and this may continue until the economy improves or the COVID employment spree is shedded. And for projects and researches that these companies have put on pause, they might consider to realign with these things over time. And to everyone that has been affected by the layoffs, regardless of the benefit promised by the companies, we are rooting for you and hope that you find your footing once more.